As someone who was an unfulfilled government leader, I help accomplished women over 50 to design their purposeful next chapter. That's all about them. In the upcoming days, we will have an actual workshop to support these women, to support your next chapter. And it is simply called AI in Your Next Chapter. Please click the link below, and I invite you to come and learn more about your upcoming life. And we'll be happy to have you. Today, we're going to have a dynamic duo. But before that, welcome to Lead Like You Mean It, people. We have Jimi Bingham. I always have to make sure I say the last name correctly. And we also have Koby Dumas. I like to bring them on stage. There you go, gentlemen.
Hi, Carla.
Hello,
hey,
Carla.
Guys.
How are you?
So for my introduction, Koby is a dynamic entrepreneur, CTO, and co-founder of Podcast Excellent Academy, and co-founder of Great Employees Matter. With over 20 years of corporate executive experience, he specializes in leadership development, team building, and helping individuals grow from average to exceptional. Jimi Bingham is a seasoned leader in corporate relations and employee development, co-founder of Great Employees Matter and Podcast Excellence Academy, and founder of Boomer Bing. That's cool. I like that, Boomer Bing. He focuses on communication, leadership growth, and helping individuals and organizations unlock their full potential. Gentlemen, once again, welcome to Lead Like You Mean It, people.
Hey, how you
Thank you for
doing?
having us.
And you guys are in Las Vegas. For some reason, I thought you were in California. Tell me again what the weather is like. Today is April 27th.
April 27th.
April 22nd. Pardon me. April 22nd.
April 27th is a week away.
April 22nd. What's the
But
weather
as far
like?
as today, the weather's beautiful. It was
really nice.
It's been the wind's been blowing the last couple of days, so we like that since Las Vegas is in the valley and it blows out all the smog and but it does blow dirt and dust around. But if we look at our view from what we call the Eagle's Nest, our nest up here has a great view of the entire valley, and weather is going to be by the end of the day, it'll probably be in the low 80s, which is a little cooler than normal, cooler than it had been the last couple of weeks. But for us, it's beautiful.
Wonderful. You know, in the East Coast, Mid-Atlantic area, we're up and down. Yeah. About 2 months ago, it was 80 degrees, and the very next day it was snowing. I mean, real snow. So, we're up and down.
Yeah, well, here in Vegas, we're usually hot. One temperature all the time.
Well, today's conversation is about what it really takes to build great employees, not just manage people. I agree. And it's not just to manage people. So Koby and Jimi will have, I'm not reading this right, pardon me. Koby and Jimi have spent years developing leaders, strengthening workplace culture, and helping individuals move from average to great. And we're talking about leadership, communication, and how strong leaders develop strong people. That's the key. You got to be a strong leader to develop a strong employee. Strong leaders. All right, we're going to kick off the first question, and whoever jumps in, I'll be happy to hear you. So when you say great employees matter, what does a great employee actually look like from a leadership perspective?
Well, I'll jump in here. A great employee isn't just somebody, and you want to develop employees so that they do take ownership. They don't wait to be told what to do. They think, they anticipate. They're concerned about outcomes, not just the instructions that a leader will give them. So from a leadership perspective, greatness shows up in three ways: accountability, adaptability, and alignment.
And I like to add, from a leadership perspective, it's really up to us to make sure that we facilitate the right environment in order for a great employee to thrive. So it's really a two-way street, the great employee journey. even though if you create a great employee or if you're a great employee, you can take that wherever you go, but it takes a great environment in order to sustain that great employee. It takes both.
Tell me what that environment looks like.
You want to go, Jimmy?
Go ahead.
I would say, first off, great communication, respect, understanding, heart value. Those things are the foundation. When you have an employee working for you, they're the face of your company. So you want to make sure that there's a good mutual respect, there's a good understanding. And if that employee feels like the company is taking care of them and what they're doing is worth it, that employee will in turn take care of the company.
And leadership has a huge responsibility, right? Leadership creates that environment where greatness is either nurtured or it can be suffocated. So if your systems and your communication and your expectations aren't clear, you're not building great employees, you're building confusion more than anything else. Great employees just don't happen by accident. They're developed by intentional leadership. So it's really incumbent upon the leaders to do what they need to do to facilitate effective communication and nurture and develop their employees.
Yeah, I'm with you. So what I just heard about as far as that employee, you can be great anywhere. So I remember working with wonderful employees. After maybe a year and a half to 2-3 years, sometimes they will come to me and say, Carla, I got another position elsewhere. And you know what? I learned to say, I'm very happy for you. I'm hurt for myself in the organization, but I'm happy for you because they were able to build upon themselves. They were able to give to the organization and they were able to take that and move forward in their career. So you can never hold on to that employee because, if they are awesome and you've provided that culture for them, they're going to fly away to another organization. If not, something somewhere far away. But it is important that you have that culture, you have that relationship, and you have that openness to grow that employee so they can continue to fly away.
And I like to add to that. I, as a corporate manager for years and years, I used to start there. So when I hired somebody, I would ask them what were their expectations, if they wanted to move up in the company, if they were trying to go elsewhere, or what their goals and aspirations were, because then I can match that energy as they're an employee for me and we grow together. And I'm always looking for them to not hold on to that employee forever. I know that process. So if I started at the beginning, it's easier to let them go at the end because it's more of like a leaving the nest type of thing instead of I'm losing somebody valuable.
Yeah.
And you as a leader, Carla, should be proud of the fact that you took the time to nurture that employee and enable them to become great so that they could in fact advance. If they didn't advance within the organization that they're presently in, working under you, then you provided them the skill set so that they can in fact move somewhere else and have the confidence that they're doing a good job. So that's truly a sign of great leadership.
And in my opinion, if you create an environment like that where somebody's able to come in and grow and go somewhere else, that's the system that creates a good system of somebody being able to come in, having a good environment, and being able to either outgrow that environment and go to something better. That's actually a really good system. That's a compliment.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the leaders on the other side who are not interested in the employee growing and moving on. What does that do to an employee? Let's say I am a manager of a shoe store, old-fashioned shoe store. And then my top seller decides I'm going to move to another one. But he doesn't want to let him go because of not just the money, but because that employee is fantastic, but he wants to keep him. And the employee doesn't feel comfortable to move forward.
Well, that's a sign of less than effective leadership. I won't say poor leadership, but less than effective leadership on the leader side. Because if that employee is good, and as so good that the leader does not want them to leave, they should have recognized that earlier. They should have taken the steps to to elevate that employee. And it's not always money. It's not always position. It's recognizing the employee for their value and letting them know that they value them. If they had done a better job of doing that all along, it's less likely that the employee would have to leave. But sometimes employees do have to leave. They, an employee might be part of a family, and the wife gets a new job and has to move to New York, and so the husband wants to follow along, so he has to leave that shoe shop and go find employment in New York. And so you can't stop somebody from doing that, from taking care of their family and living their lives. So again, it's really important for that leadership to recognize their most valuable employees, and to recognize that all of their employees are valuable. It's much more difficult and more expensive to bring in a new employee and retrain them and get them to the point that you want them to be, than to retain an employee that's already good. So
absolutely, 100%. If you're looking from an organizational point of view, just from the dollar bill perspective, it is far more expensive to bring in a new employee.
Always.
So talk about what you all are doing in your business to continue to build great employees.
Koby, I'll let you take that, because Koby is the architect of our corporate structure, right? We really have 4 businesses that are aligned and work well together. And Koby has orchestrated that and created the architectural structure so that that's effective. So Koby, you want to talk about how the 4 work together?
Yeah. So Jimmy said the eagle's nest. It's the owl's nest when he's talking, right? Owl illustrates wisdom and communication, and the eagle is leadership, right? So, but our system, we started with Great Employees Matter, but started to realize that in order to be a great employee, you need foundations, you need things, you need systems, you need to be in order. So a lot of that came out from mainly trying to help people organize, like personal development, right? Getting themselves together, getting them organized, getting a routine and a system in your life, having a plan and things like that. And it just grew from there to where the foundation turned into us really doing a lot of personal development coaching in our environments. And my environment was podcasting. That's what I was teaching at the time while I was building Great Employees Matter. And so it just kind of all grew together, and we started teaching everything in one spot, because in order to have a good podcast and monetize it, you have to have a good foundation, branding, marketing. You got to have a map. You got to have a system behind it. And so all of these things fit in both worlds. So we just kind of put them all together.
Cool beans. So Jimmy, explain to us what's Boomer Bing.
So Boomer Bing ended up being a byproduct. Actually, it was a resurrection. Boomer Bing was something that I thought of maybe 5 years ago, as I was considering retirement, what I was going to do. And I had come to the realization that as a young leader, I was pretty much ahead of the curve everywhere. And as an aging leader, I was falling behind. And one of our adages is, we as the boomer generation, right, the baby boomer generation, we may have invented the internet, but that doesn't mean that we know how to use the internet. And so I came up with Boomer Bing to be able to facilitate that type of communication, to provide that type of education, so that boomers could in fact learn more about how to use the internet, in particular how to communicate. And then we were fortunate enough to have on the Great Employees Matter podcast, we brought in Sherry Tree from Bank, which is a personal assessment, scientifically based program. And it teaches people how to learn who they are and what they're all about, but more importantly, who the person that they're speaking to comes from, and what is effective in communicating with them. So it's a a program that we've incorporated into all 4 of our businesses, so that when we're having discovery communications with potential new clients, we can understand right away where they're coming from and how best to get our message across. And so, if anybody is interested in that type of learning, I'll go ahead and jump on some shameless self-promotion here. If they go to our website, Great Employees Matter, they can go down to the bank assessment. And if you go through that bank assessment, just click on that link. Normally that's a $99 charge. If you come through this program, if you come through Carla Coates, then you can just click on that and you can do your assessment for no charge and find out who you're all about and learn a little bit more about bank.
All right. Okay, so I want to shift. I want to talk about what's your biggest leadership failure and what did you learn from it?
Wow, Koby?
Extending ourselves out too much for people who are not giving back enough.
That's a good one. Let's hit more.
Yeah, I mean, just helping people, going all in, and I translated to maybe wanting it more than they really do, or more than you thought they really did, and it just results in catastrophic failure and time loss, which is to me the most valuable commodity is your time. So when you lose that, you don't get it back; it's gone.
Well, who are the they? Not names, but like position wise.
Oh, position wise. Okay, so I'm looking at it from a business standpoint. So I'll switch. The biggest failure in leadership in business. Let's see. Let me think of one. I gotta think of one, Jimmy.
Well, I'll jump on mine then. One of my biggest leadership failures was assuming that a person that my passion alone would carry people, right? That because I was passionate about the job, I was passionate about the outcome. If I did what I did, other people would just naturally follow me. That if I was clear, if I was motivated, everybody else would just get it, right? And they would do what I was doing, and they didn't. What I learned is leadership isn't about what you say; it's about what people actually understands and execute. So I think my biggest failure when I was a young buck, when I first got into management back in my USC days, was just assuming that people would follow my lead, would understand what I was trying to do with and for them, and found out that they didn't. So I had to change my communication and leadership style to really get at their level or rise to their level and be able to communicate effectively, so that the entire group, the entire organization grew from that.
Yeah, I think mine would be just not really listening. That would be my leadership failure is thinking people should be at the same speed as I am and not meeting them where they are and not really listening to their positioning and what their expectations were. It's just my way or the highway. That was my A at a high level when I was young. If you guys understand bank.
Yeah. It's something you say about listening, because I learned how to listen more intently by being trained as a coach. And I thought, oh my gosh, now this was just 8 years ago. And I thought, I've been working for a couple of decades. So I missed an enormous amount of information because I decided, hey, I am going to push hard. We're going to execute. And, oh, did I hear you? It doesn't matter. We're just going to execute.
Yeah.
But I lost a lot with not just employees, but with my colleagues, with my own leaders, because I didn't sit and take the time to listen.
And that translates to family. That translates to life, period. And so I'm still going through that transition because, one of my mentors, the late Mark Yarnell, he said that he was going to have a problem with me because I was a leader. Leaders already know what they want. They know the direction. So it's very hard to steer them in a different direction. And that is where the non-listening comes from.
Yeah.
And if you learn how to sit in that position from that and slow yourself down and actually listen, you go a little bit farther.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Now, I find myself that I lead with clarity first, right? And just making sure that everybody is understanding each other, that the employee understands what I'm saying, that I understand the employee's point of position, and that I don't assume anything and I don't expect them to assume anything. The more clear that I can be, the better they're going to be in following instruction and in developing themselves into becoming good leaders. So now, Koby talked about slowing down. You both talked about slowing down. Now I can slow down long enough to make sure that people understand. And so I find myself leading more, with empathy, with more clarity, and certainly with less assumption.
That's an excellent point. Less assumption. As I believe a lot of leaders, including me, I just assumed you understood that we were going to follow this path and that you were going to get on it and you were going to rise to my energy level, right?
You sound just like me.
Level went down. I'm like, what is your problem?
Right. People looking at you like that, like, what is your problem? This guy, come on, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're like, come on, chop, chop. What's the problem?
Right. You had to learn that people are different and they have different experiences, different background.
Yeah.
So I would agree with you, Koby. With mine would be the listening part is a failure, and that's, as I mentioned earlier, that's with the employees, with my colleagues, and with my leadership. It was all around, definitely all around.
But see, some people look at failure as a negative. I don't. Right? That failure is teaching me to change. That failure is teaching me what not to do. That failure is teaching me to move forward. That's what I tell people. You take that failure, you put it behind you and let it push you forward. Don't use it to stop you. That's when failure becomes negative, when it stops your momentum.
Fantastic. Okay. I'm going to roll with these questions now. Connie knows I just normally ask one question, but I'm doing it today.
All right, we love questions.
All right. So as leaders who've worked both in corporate and entrepreneurial spaces, what leadership boundaries have you established that help you lead effectively?
One of the biggest boundaries I've set is I just don't carry what doesn't belong to me. Right. We can't own anyone else's emotions. We can't own their effort. We can't own their discipline. All we can do is provide the leadership so that they take their emotions out of a situation, that they give their maximum effort, that they're disciplined enough to do their job. I don't like punishing employees. I would rather reward employees than punish them. So if you set up those boundaries and let the employee know that you're not going to put up with any nonsense when it comes to the communication piece and their interaction with the other employees, then you have a much better opportunity to really work with that employee and develop them.
Okay, so give me some examples of the boundaries.
Clear expectations, defined roles, systems. These are all things that Koby really focuses on. So the boundaries are, you can have simple boundaries, like everybody needs in the workplace and workspace. There's times when you need your own space, right? And leaders in particular, they might need to set aside half hour a day where they focus on whatever they need to focus on returning phone calls, on writing letters, on dealing with HR issues. And if their doors closed, if you set a boundary that when my doors close, I don't accept any interruptions, it better be an emergency. And then I generally try and leave my door open as much as possible so that people know that when the door is open, then they have the opportunity to come in and express whatever they need to express, ask any questions they want to do. But when the door is closed, respect my boundary of that's my time that I need for myself.
And I do it from the center and try to teach people boundaries from the inside out, meaning starting with your expectations and your map and your heart value, right? And if those things are in core from the internal, you work that outwards and it'll come back, right? So maintaining yourself, your discipline, your personal systems that you should set up for yourself, your respect and things like that. Those are the boundaries that I respect, and I coach, I teach, and I operate by that as well.
And boundaries themselves create respect, right? So when you as a leader lack boundaries, if your employees don't understand, the team itself ends up lacking direction. So you have to have boundaries
And structure and communication, and heart value. I always say heart value because it's important, because if you have a good high heart value, then your intentions and your ethics are pretty good.
Mm. Okay, so one thing that I'm hearing is that the two of you have different personalities.
Yes, ma'am.
Different personalities, different backgrounds. So how do you work your leadership together as partners in a business?
I'll start by saying Jimmy Jimmy can everything that I need help with, Jimmy supports.
Oh, cool.
I'll just say it like that. It's an opposite, and we work well together because we fill in blanks for each other.
Mm.
And we do that by listening to each other, right? We're very good already and getting better at listening to each other and being able to redirect conversations, whether it be internal, whether it be between us and our team, or whether it be external. And that skill set has proven to enable us, because we do have very different personalities. We have a lot of similarities, but from a work perspective, we have very different personalities. Facing the employee, and I think we complement each other incredibly well.
That's cool. Who's the early morning person and who's the one that, what I deal with it a little later? Because that's my prime time.
Well, it's funny because I would consider myself the early morning person. I try to be down by 10 and generally get up at 2. And we have a 6 o'clock session every morning, 7 days of the week. And Koby, however, is
wait a minute. 6 o'clock? You're talking about 6 a.m.?
Our day, 7 days a week, we begin at 6. I usually give up around 9 at night. I try and put in a 15-hour day. Koby generally works beyond that, and he'll cat nap during the day. He'll take 20 minutes, and I'll revive him for another 4 hours. And at night, I don't even know when he sleeps. I know that I try and retire I try and go upstairs around 9. And my wife says, "Oh, you still live here?" And I say, "Yeah, I do." And then so I go to sleep, and if I get up in the middle of the night to deal with the dogs or anything, and I come downstairs, at least 50% of the time Koby's still up, so I don't know when he sleeps.
So I don't know how to answer that. but no, I just stay busy. And what was the question? Because Jimmy talked for a while.
Now, who's the early person? Basically, who's the early person and who isn't?
No, we're both early. I think it's right now all hands on deck for us. It's just business, and now it seems like I live here. I do kind of live here because my wife's gone. I'm just explaining to your audience. My wife's gone. I have my own place, right? But since she's been gone, I've been working here, so we've been doing a lot of work. So no, we don't sleep a lot. We work mostly.
Okay.
And have a great time doing it. We love what we do.
I'm going to attribute a lot of this to our business is up. And when we started Bank, which you guys are familiar with, and they said that it would go up 300% by learning Bank, I can say that we can vouch for that because I'm super busy, right? I have to put in those type of hours because if I don't, then we'll fall behind. And not only that, my relationship improved immediately after starting Bank. So I'm telling you guys, learn it. It is incredibly good. Go crack your codes.
Crack your code.
Cool beans. So one last thing before we close out. What is it that you want people, and I like to hear from both of you, what is it that you want people to hear about your businesses?
Wow. Koby.
Yeah, I'll start. Understanding the foundation and creating a good system. Don't nickel and dime your business. It'll nickel and dime you back. And once a lot of people figure that out and understand the type of systems that they need to be able to grow and scale and run their business, after they figure out what it is, life gets a lot better.
Hmm.
And mine would be, have your map, understand what your map is, know what your goals are, and plan for getting there. Don't plan for failure. Don't plan for not achieving every goal that you want. In fact, we actually encourage people to set their goals higher than what they can actually achieve, because you can always adjust your goals. But if you set them too low, then you'll settle for less than what you're entitled to. Everybody has something major to contribute to society, and if you can appreciate that in your life, then your life will be much better. And I apologize for our dogs.
That's the chief marketing officer. He's doing his job. I don't know what's going on.
I gotta remember that, chief barking officer. Cool beans. Well, gentlemen, I tell you, I thank you very much for participating as guests on Lead Like You Mean It, people. It's been a fantastic conversation. And I believe Connie, our producer, she'll have some information that you be able to reach out to Koby and Jimmy. She'll have that in the comments. Anything else before we close out, gentlemen?
I want to start by saying it's an absolute pleasure and an honor for you to have us on here. We appreciate it. And I definitely want to do an extended invite, since I'm Jimmy's producer, for you to come back onto our show. And it's going to be a communication show that he's doing with Boomer Bing. We'd love to have you.
Oh, sure thing.
And I just thank you effusively for for the relationship, the friendship we've developed over the last year. Thank you for being on our show. As Koby says, we'd like to have you on our updated show. And to the audience, thank you for listening. Carla has a great show. She's a great leader, and especially for the female leaders in this audience, follow what Carla does. She'll take you down the right path for sure.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that. All right, guys, try to keep cool in that Las Vegas weather.
Oh yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're out here. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks on Lead Like You Mean It, people. To my producer Connie, we thank you, and we're out.
Bye, everybody.